The year was 1990. Civilization was thriving, and small villages were just beginning to take form. There were a lot of little towns here and there where travelers can come see the sights. Rock collecting had taken part of the region by storm. It had turned into a way of life for some people, including Alex Bunker. Alex was quite a successful geologist who had a few rare rocks already displayed at the British Museum. Eager to find even more good finds, he followed the renowned geologist Sir William P. Chase to see if he wanted to explore a nearby cave together. Alex had passed the North Sea and took a train through Belgium. The town he was headed for wasn't the best of places and bared a lot of strange activity, but it was ideal for the job Alex wanted to do. It was the closest town to an old mining den that was closed off due to weird happenings that were reported near it. This didn't discourage Alex at all, for when people asked him where he was going, he had no problem telling them. He even got into an argument as to one of the passengers on board the train advised him not to go. The passenger confronting him was an elderly woman, about mid-70s, and wore rags with gaping holes which at times revealed what small cloth she wore underneath. Her hair was frizzled and homely, with pieces of trash peeping out here and there. "Gatherer!" she cried out. The outburst seemed to make the other travelers on the train uncomfortable, as most dismissed themselves from the cart. See, they know the story all too well, that's why they run. Screaming at the top of her lungs, she stepped in front of Alex and asked, "Do you know the story of the collector?" Alex shook his head in confusion. The lady clapped as if delighted to hear this. Come all to hear the tale." A few other passengers sat closer to witness the show. A mother, a child, and a teenager all came to listen. Also, a person in a brick brown jacket sat in the far corner of the cart. All that was visible from this person was their long dark brown hair. The elderly woman clapped her hands again and began to rub them together. Gold specks started to fall from the gaps in her fingers. As she spread her hands, some images began to form. It showed a group of men walking through a cave. With flashlights to navigate them through the dark cavern, they slowly went from place to place. Alex was watching this marvelous display and squinted a little bit because he thought he saw a moving shadow in the background, but dismissed the idea and paid no attention. He saw the men pickaxe through layers of stone and uncover a large wall with drawings on it. The figures were that of a ghostly presence, with a little sun on the other side. In the middle there was a smooth rock sticking out of the wall. The men didn't pay much attention to the markings and pulled it out, and it began to glow. The smile on their faces was a sign of victory and a job well done, as each member of the crew snapped a picture of themselves with the clear rock of light. Each one had different expressions, but the moving picture stressed the photo taken by the last individual. The picture was ruined because of the reflection of a gold cross on his neck, with an emerald augment in the center. The flashing images continued to cover the face of this guy who carried the shiny object in his backpack that glowed with intensity throughout the stitches of his bag. The group seemed to struggle on the way back, and the tomb looked even darker than before. Their flashlights barely helped through the murky mist. Every now and then, their hands would reach for their necks, or they would let out a strong cough. Towards the end, when the light from the sunrise came through to shine the rest of the way, the guy carrying the bright stone started to take it out of its satchel. He reached to the bottom, and right before he pulled it out, the cloud of pictures disappeared. The train came to a stop, and all the passengers in the cart left. The only person who stayed was the one in the big brown jacket. The conductor voiced over the intercom, "Next stop." Alex told the lady, "Not to rush you or anything, but that's my stop." The lady grinned. "Yes, I'll get to the point of my story." She stirred up the smoke again, and the images became vivid once more. The view was of outside, out of the cave, from a far angle. Out came the man, with the gold cross, running for his life. Rock in his hand, he looked back and tripped on a tree branch that moved on its own. A large black hand crawled out of the cave and grabbed one end of the glowing stone. The guy was tenacious and wouldn't let the orb go, and they fought for it. The hand became violent and tossed the man without effort to the ground and cracked the rock. The huge shadow now had one piece of the orb and went for the last, when a ray of sunshine pierced through the surrounding clouds and burned the hand like it was acid. The hand flailed and threw its half of the stone in the nearby woods. It cowered back to the cave and vanished. The man limped away to the trees after putting the stone back into its bag. The dust dropped, and the lady started to cough. I guess that's all to manage. You know, a bat like me can manage. Beware. The train stopped, and the old lady went to the carts further to the back. Alex had a confused look on his face as he exited the train. He pulled out some change from his pocket so he could catch a carriage to his next destination. When he started to think to himself, what was that story really about? And what did it have to do with me? What were all those strange mocking? Alex was bumped by the person with the big brown jacket and long hair. He dropped some of his change as they rolled down and fell into the drainage pipe. He scrambled to the ground, trying to salvage any coins that didn't roll into the grate. Hey buddy, what's the rush? But no one was around him to receive his words. Alex lifted himself up back with a loud sigh. I guess I'll have to walk the rest of the way. He began his trek, and night caught up with him fast.